Oh, maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit of smack talk, especially between me and T. Yeah, me and T came in together, and we even in practice we used to talk smack. So I'll definitely be talking smack to T for sure.
383 days. That's how long it's been since the Iowa Hawkeyes were the #2 ranked team in the entire nation. Now, Iowa gets their chance at revenge against the team that spoiled the Hawks' playoff hopes, the Purdue Boilermakers. Only this time, it's being played in West Lafayette. Hello everyone, and welcome back to your #1 source for Hawkeye sports. I'm your host Michael Merrick, and today we're going to tell you everything you need to know before the kickoff. This week, Iowa takes on the Purdue Boilermakers. And last year when these two teams met, Purdue wideout David Bell would torch the Hawkeyes, totaling 240 yards in the Boilermakers upset over the #2 ranked Hawks. This year, Iowa knows Purdue's star wide receiver all too well.
I mean, I've always known Charlie was a special player. Hopefully he has no catches. Tyrone too.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for, to get back and face him and face Tyrone.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to put him down a little bit, for sure. For sure. A little love tap.
In his final year as a Hawkeye, Charlie Jones would total 323 receiving yards and 21 receptions. Meanwhile, in his first 3 games with the Boilermakers, Jones would easily eclipse his numbers from his Iowa days. Jones would bring in over 450 yards in just his first 3 games, alongside over 30 catches. But he didn't stop there. Currently, Charlie Jones is top 10 in the nation in receiving yards and touchdowns. And he is currently second in the country in receptions. On top of all of that, he nearly has doubled the output that the Iowa wide receiver corps has all produced this season.
He obviously, just look at the stats, he's playing well. He's a good football player, so that doesn't surprise us at all. We're going to have to try to do a good job of defending him on defense, and then also, the special teams aspect.
Jones's new quarterback, though, isn't all that new to him, and he was a massive reason for Charlie's departure from the Hawks. Purdue quarterback Aiden O'Donnell grew up just 10 miles apart from Charlie, and the two played football and baseball together for 6 years, starting when the duo was just in 3rd grade. And it's clear that this chemistry has continued today onto the field. Currently, O'Connell leads the Big Ten and is 5th in the nation in passing yards per game.
Outstanding passer. Obviously, he's experienced. He's a 6-year player. He's had great success against, really good competition. So, the combination, I think, of Coach Brom's offensive mind, everywhere he's been, they've been good offensively. They've scored points.
Especially O'Connell, when you have an experienced quarterback. He's played us, 4 times now. I think he does a great job in reading our defense.
O'Connell, though, is ranked 3rd in the conference in interceptions. And with the experience of the Doughboys, we could see the key takeaways for the Hawkeyes. And like most Iowa games, it's going to come down to whether or not the Iowa offense can capitalize on takeaways and put up points. Now let's bring in DITV sports reporter Max von Gries. Max, fans and the media have been fairly criticizing this Iowa offense all year long. But last week, they did have their best performance of the season, totaling over 30 points for the first time this year. Do you expect to see this offense travel well into Ross-Ade Stadium?
Well, Michael, I think they definitely have a chance to continue their improved play, just because Purdue ranks 10th in the Big Ten in total defense. But the key will be Iowa's offensive line. So far this season, the Hawks have been very disappointing up front, as currently Iowa has given up the most sacks in the entire Big Ten, averaging 3 sacks allowed per game. If the Hawks can't keep Petras off his back against a Boilermaker squad that is 5th in the Big Ten in sacks, it could be a long game on Saturday.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I think we learned a little something in the Ohio State game and maybe gained a little traction. I mean, there wasn't a lot good there from the offensive standpoint. We've been inexperienced and inconsistent. That's what I would say. And I think we made strides. And last year at this time, we really started to gain some ground. I'm hoping that's going to happen this year too. But it's hard to get better if you're not on the field. It really is hard.
Another big factor in Saturday's game, Michael, will be the production from star tight end Sam Laporta. Laporta sits at 3rd amongst tight ends in the nation in receptions with 41 so far this year. And last week, he became the Hawkeyes' all-time leading receptions for a tight end. Sam's been the main focal point for the Iowa offense all season long, and if he can have another big game this Saturday, Iowa could get that revenge from last year's homecoming upset. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Max. And sadly, this week there was no reply from the Purdue exponent to comment on this game. But no worries, we are never at a struggle to find amazing student sports reporters here at the University of Iowa. So now let's bring in Daily Iowan assistant sports editor Chris Werner to help break down some more of these Boilermakers. Chris, Purdue's offense is very pass-centric, but that doesn't mean they're at a lack of talent in the backfield. Can you talk about some of the challenges the Hawkeyes face against the Boilermaker run game?
Yeah, the Purdue tailback, Devin Maccabee, is definitely going to be one to watch for Iowa. He averages about 5.5 yards per carry, and he has 6 touchdowns on the year. So when Aiden O'Connell is not looking to pass it to Charlie Jones or another dynamic receiver that the Boilermakers have, he can hand it to Maccabee, and he can pick up some big yards. But Iowa's defense has been pretty good at stopping the run, and they're going to need to continue that trend this week.
Yes, and Chris, earlier we talked about how the Iowa offensive line is the major key in this game for the Hawks this weekend. What can you expect to see from Purdue's front seven to go up against this Iowa O-line?
Yeah, it's going to be the passing game and pass protection is going to be vital in this one because the Purdue front seven defense is about middle of the pack stopping the run, but they are 5th in sacks in the conference just behind Iowa with 18 on the year. And so it's definitely going to be up to this young and inexperienced offensive line from Iowa that we mentioned already to protect Spencer Petras and give him time to dissect the Purdue secondary because the Purdue secondary is not the strong suit. So if he can get there and find weapons, it could be good for Iowa, but he does need time to do that. And Purdue is definitely going to try to do their best to hurry him in those passing situations.
Yes, it's going to be a very interesting thing to see nonetheless. But now, Chris, this is the time that everyone's really been waiting for. Hawkeyes have a tough test ahead of them. But who do you have in this one, and how do you see the game playing out?
I have Iowa winning this one. It might be called biased journalism. I don't think it is. I think the Iowa defense is going to get a couple turnovers. Aiden O'Connell has thrown a couple picks this year. I think he adds to that total. And I think the Iowa running game will do just enough. They'll get a lead and then run the clock out. And I see this one 21-17. Iowa gets the monkey off their back and beats Purdue for the first time in 3 years.
Well, Chris, I have this game playing out pretty similar to you. I think in this one's really going to propel the Hawks for the rest of the season after they win. I think the injury concerns of Charlie Jones are going to limit his production and cause the Boilermakers to have to lean on some other guys. And I just don't think that Purdue can avoid those costly turnovers that will inevitably lose them the game. I have a 27-13 Hawkeyes, but the game will play much closer than the score suggests. So thank you, Chris, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Before the Kickoff. Be sure to check out the Daily Iowan YouTube page and website for all the latest updates on everything Hawkeye sports. From the University of Iowa, I'm Michael Merrick, and have a wonderful weekend of football, everyone.